Hi, Eric the Car Guy here, bringing you part 2 of this Chevy Tahoe engine swap. That's this guy here behind me. Somebody mentioned cleaning out the condenser. Not really too much to clean, but I hit it with some compressed air. And there were some other suggestions that I plan to try and point out along the way, but I'm not going to do this as a step-by-step. I'm just going to do this as a general overview of everything. But hey, check this out. Hi. Yes. This is going to be the first Eric the Car Guy shoot with not one, but 2 cameras. So we have the ability to look at more than one thing at once, which should be interesting when it comes time to edit. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. You should be excited too. Let's get rolling on this 2007 Chevy Tahoe engine swap. And eventually we hope to end this one by finding out what was wrong with the original engine to see if our leak down test confirms our suspicions. Well, instead of sitting here talking to you, I think I should get moving and get this job done. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. All right, let's have a look at this oil. Just to see if it tells us anything. I loosened it first. Don't be thinking I'm He-Man or nothing. Yeah. I'm seeing oil that looks like it got mixed with coolant. That might give you, this might give you a clearer picture. So I would say that that is probably the cause of its demise. But anytime you see oil that looks like this, yuck. Check it out. Actually, this looks a lot like oil that's just really old. I don't know if it has moisture or coolant in it, but it just looks yucky. Well, as you can see, we're supported on our jack stands. Probably should throw my safety glasses on. Cars that are newer, it's not as much of a problem, but like on older cars where there's a lot of rust and you're underneath the car, stuff falls in your eyes all the time. So it's a good idea to have those on there. But now that we're up on jack stands, I'm gonna empty out the transfer case, remove that, remove the drive shafts. I was gonna remove the power steering pump, but normally they put holes in the front of the pump, or in the front pulley, so you can gain access to the fasteners that hold it to the bracket that holds it on the engine. But they didn't give me any holes, and I'm a little disappointed by that, because if you put holes in something, you're using less metal. So I'm going to say that so far that's my only disappointment working on this truck. But up to this point, I hate to admit it, but I don't mind working on this truck at all. It's really not that bad, and I can't wait to get that new engine in here because it's going to be like a new truck. So I'm sure you're excited like me. So I'm going to drain this oil and go see if I can pop the transfer case off. I was making a mess back there. Pop the transfer case off and go from there. See what happens when you're not paying attention? Oh man. Alright, here we have the transfer case. And it's called a transfer case because it's pretty simple in its operation, because all it really does is take the power out of the transmission, go into here, and then over here and sends it up to the drive shaft in the front for the 4-wheel drive. So transfer case, it transfers power, but all it really is a big chain around the back side of this gear that turns another gear over here, sends power to the front. That's an oversimplification, but that's pretty much what it does. You can see the other drive shaft here that it has. Looks like this one has some electronic engagement components. But the idea now is I'm going to drain the fluid. Here's the fill, here's the drain. I'm going to drain the fluid out of this, and then pull the drive shafts out, both this one in the front and this one in the back. And I'm going to remove this whole unit. Then it looks like it's going to be a matter of taking this out. I'm going to support the transmission here with a jack. Here's the rear transmission mount. Take those out, and the whole thing should come out from there. And it's a nice day, so I can leave my door open and have some air going through here for once. Well, it's time for an update. I have the axles out.
Got the drive shaft laying over here. Drive shafts are really easy to take out. You just take out the 4 fasteners,
that hold them at the U-joints. Push them forward and pry them out, but make sure you mark their location and how it fits on that yoke. I scribe lines when I do that, because they are balanced assemblies and it's a good idea to put them back where they were. I've not removed the front drive shaft from the transfer case because of that bushing right there, but I have disconnected it from the front axle. And once again, I also marked it to keep the balance right. I've got the O2 sensors unhooked. I've got a jack underneath the transmission pan there, but it's really not holding it up. And I've only got one fastener holding the transfer case in. I had to get out. There's a center support here. I had to take that out to even get to any of this stuff up under the transfer case, or around the transfer case, because those bolts that are on the top of this are pretty difficult to get to. But they're all done, and I just have the one remaining. And I've got the, obviously it's supported, and I'm gonna slide it back a little bit. And who knows, if it works out to where I just slide it back, I'm fine with that, because I just need it out of my way. I don't necessarily need to have it all the way down on the ground. But they are somewhat tricky, because you know, they have such an odd shape, so it's hard to get hold of them. So you just have to be careful when you take those out. They're not that heavy, but they're heavy enough to where if you dropped it on you, you'd feel it, you'd know it. But once this transfer case is out, I got a couple of wires up front, and we're pretty much ready to come out. And I'm making good time on this. I'm very happy. Now, I didn't empty the transmission out. And when I knocked the transfer case loose from the back of the transmission, there was a lot of fluid that came out. So I was glad to have my pan there and handy. So be prepared if you don't empty the transmission. And I didn't really have any intention of doing that, because you have to drop the pan to do it. It's not like there's a drain plug where you can drain it all out. So instead of going through all that, I just wanted to pull the whole thing out. But know that as you work this loose, you're going to have some fluid coming out of there. Be aware. Also know that there are a few electrical connections that need to come off on the top of the transfer case before you pull it all the way out. If not, when you go to drop it down, it's kind of cumbersome. You might be pulling on some wires and some tubes. So make sure you got everything disconnected before you drop things out. And also try to keep all your fasteners and everything organized. Try to keep everything together as it comes off. And in the cases of like drive shafts and things, make sure you mark where they go. Leave yourself little breadcrumbs along the way. This will make it easier to put it back together when you're ready to put it back together. Now what? One of those. On this. Yeah, there really is no easy way for that. Now it should be easy to get shift cable and stuff off. Good to go. Yeah, it's going to be fun to put back together. Here's the aftermath. Now, looks like I got some fuel lines to disconnect. Shift cable. A couple of other wires. And I think this thing is coming out. Alright, what I believe to be the moment of truth. Transfer case is out, fuel lines are disconnected. Had to fight with the ABS modulator a little bit. Fuel lines run behind it. They fasten it to the frame in such a way to where it's difficult to work with, especially with the brake lines still connected. Obviously I'm not going to open up the brake system to do this, I just want to sneak those lines past. But I believe we're all clear. I've got a floor jack underneath the back of the transmission, just sort of keep it up a little bit. I've also got, I'm about to roll up with the senior moment cherry picker and hook it up. There have been things about this job that, I mean, initially it seemed deceptively easy, but there's just little places like that ABS modulator that cost me like a half hour, and getting the chain to hook up, and that's basically, you know, the chain and everything that I have that have something to do with that. But those little things kind of like chipped away at the ease of what I believed this job was originally going to be. But that's just how this is. I mean, you do this for a living and you're going to find not everything goes the way you plan, and it's how you deal with those things that makes the difference. So I'm going to show you something cool. Why don't you stay under the truck and watch the engine leave? Wouldn't that be fun? So let's do that. Now let's just hope that those jack stands aren't in the way and I have to move them. That would be disappointing. Well, barely. It's hanging up on the front diff. I hope I don't have to drop it down in order to get this engine out, because that would be disappointing. Alright, what we have here is that the oil pan right here is hitting the diff. So I'm going to have to drop the diff down in order for the thing to slip out of here. So far it doesn't look too bad, but you know, anytime you gotta do stuff like this, it just kind of takes the wind out of your sails. There's a lot of junk there. It'd be a lot easier if there wasn't a body on this car. Apparently that's what they gotta do on a lot of Fords, like an Excursion, things like that. People have sent me pictures. It's a lot more involved than this, and I'd never be able to do it here, taking the body off this frame, but what are you going to do? Okay, we have dropped the front differential, and now we're going to take another stab at it, see if we can get it out of here.
kind of looks like I'm gonna have to take the exhaust off because looks like it's hitting over on the frame. Back to square one. Okay, let's try it one more time. Lower part of the steering shaft. Okay, she's out. And what an effort. There were some issues with this wiring harness. Some of these were up inside the fender well, and I didn't see them. There were issues with that. I had to remove the steering linkage because that was getting in the way. I had to drop the differential. I almost wish I had dropped the steering rack too, because it is tight. As you can see, I had a little damage here and on this cover here, and I'm a little concerned about that. But this is just a plastic cover, and going in, I'm hoping it doesn't have the same problem. But I mean, it's in there so stinking tight. I was gonna say, yay, easy. I'm also wishing that I had not I had drained the transmission fluid, because as you can see, I got a lake down there that I'm gonna have to soak up. But I think this is gonna go to the way to end. I had to drop the exhaust because there was no way those cats were getting past that frame. So whoever took that out must have taken the cab off of it first. But man, this was a lot more work than I anticipated, that's for sure. Here's something else that I noticed. My idea of hooking in where this valve cover is not a good idea, as you can see. I lifted the new engine up like this without a problem. This is the old one, so I don't really care so much, but still, I want to send back a usable core, and I've got to say that that's not good. So it's as tight as it is in there. I'm hard pressed to try to figure out where I'm going to hook. I may try this side over here, because that looks like it's supposed to be a hook. No idea how I'm going to use it, but I'll do my best. And then go across to the other side and try to find something on the front of the engine to hook onto. But that was the thing, I just couldn't find anything to put my hooks onto. But it's out now, thankfully. And I'm about wore out. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening, and I don't think the new one's going in tonight. I think you guys are wait until next week. Still want to do this for a living? Yeah, some days are better than others. Today I'm gonna come right out and say it. I got my butt kicked. I thought this was gonna go pretty smooth. I was all excited about it, but then again, you know, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, I think is how the song goes. Anyway, I'm Eric the Car Guy. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. Actually, I'm Eric the Car Guy. You can always find me at Facebook and... Just a minute. Hi, I'm Eric the Car Guy. You can always find me at EricTheCarGuy.com or on Facebook and Twitter under Eric the Car Guy, all one word. Also on Sundays, me and Rich Baxter from CarAndTruckTalk.com, we do a little podcast Sundays at noon, Eastern Standard Time. You can find it on the player at the bottom of my homepage. Just click on the link there and you can listen to past episodes. You can listen to episodes live, call in, participate, whatever. Anyhow, this is Eric the Car Guy, who is very dirty, reminding you to stay dirty. So, I'll see you next time. Looks like this one's going to be part 3 too. But I am whooped. I think I want to go lie down.